What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Happy transfer deadline to you all. The window does slam shut at this evening, 7 p.m. And we've already got a big bomber to tell you about here on transfer deadline. And he goes by the name of Randal Kolo Muani, if you haven't heard already. Let's just get into the breaking news. So David Ornstein, Tottenham Hotspur have reached an agreement with PSG to sign Randal Kolo Muani. Deal for the 26-year-old PSG striker, straight loan, season-long loan, no option or obligation. Personals done. France International is en route to London as we speak to do his medical. Fabrizio Romano gave us those three beautiful words. He says, Randal Kolo Muani to Tottenham. Here we go. Done deal, loan move with an option to buy. So he says option to buy. Ornstein says no option to buy, but he says the clause is not mandatory. PSG accepts Spurs' proposal for Muani, wanted the move, and the exclusive story is confirmed, and Paul O'Keefe just says, done.
Yeah.
So this move is happening. He's on his way to London, and with Spurs finally get their man a year on.
Well, what was it, in January, deadline day, we were going for him then. Well, not deadline day. I think he rejected us for Juve when it looked like at that time he was going to be a Spurs player. Look, for me, it's a good signing. Look, beggars can't really be choosers right now when it comes to the options. And I think we'll get into the Solanke news later. It does raise a few concerns that we've gone for someone like Muani over a pure winger, which tells me is Solanke's injury worse than what we feared. There's a lot of rumours flying around that it could be. Not being confirmed yet. At the moment, the reliable journalists are saying it's not so bad. So we'll have to wait and see for confirmation. But the fact we've gone for a Muani and not a Lookman tells me, because he can play up front, that tells me maybe there's something more serious going on with Solanke. So we'll wait that news. So that could be the kind of bad element to this deal. But for me, I think it's a good deal. I think for Juve, he did pretty well. PSG, for some reason or another, he just wasn't picked too often. They didn't really see a place for him. But when he did get on the pitch, he did get regular goals and assists. Obviously for Frankfurt in the Bundesliga, that was a real breakout season for him. That earned him that big move to PSG. Can play on the wing, can play up front. Is physical, very good pressing forward as well. I think would fit in with Thomas Frank's system really well. I think Frank will really like him. I think, the fact that he's a versatile forward, can play multiple positions. And I think the fact that if and when Solanke comes back, he can play on the wing as well. So you've got a spot for him in the team, whether it's up front or on the wing, was crucial. I think he's a good player. I think at Juve, they tried to re-sign him. For one reason or another, the deal fell through at the final hour, and it's opened the door for us. And I think we've done well. We've done well to get him in. I think he's a good player. And I think it's a good signing for us, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, look, he's definitely a player that has talent. That's for sure. I think his career hasn't really progressed in the way that he's wanted it to progress since making that big move to PSG. I think that's there for everyone to see. I think that if Solanke got that injury, earlier on, and we had months to look for a striker, I don't think we would have landed on Kolo Muani. But now we're here, deadline day. He's got this injury over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, however long it's been. Look, I don't think there's anyone better on the market that you can get on a deadline day than Randal Kolo Muani. So I'm happy from that aspect. I think that he's got a lot of proving to do still, Randal Kolo Muani, because just of how his career's kind of stagnated over the past 2-3 years. But we all know that the way Frank likes to develop his forwards, and we just got to hope that he can get Kolo Muani playing his best again.
Romano's just updated saying there's no buy option.
Okay,
no buy option. So it looks like it's just a straight loan deal, which is whatever. It's not great, but it doesn't mean we can't negotiate a deal. How many times have we had a buy option and Levy negotiates it down anyway? So I think having a buy option doesn't necessarily mean you're definitely going to get him for that price anyway. But so there is no buy option in this deal, straight loan. I think either way, it makes sense. Get him in temporarily, because we do have players. We've got Richarlison, we've got Solanke when he comes back fit as well. And we've got a number of options on the wings with Tel, Odebear, Johnson, Kudus. So I think it makes sense to have it on a straight loan deal, see how he does, and see in terms of the game time he's getting and all that kind of stuff, and gives chance for Odebear and Tel to develop and show what they're about. And I agree. I don't think before the window, he would have been on my list necessarily for Tottenham players to sign. But given the circumstances we're in, I don't think we could have hoped for any better on deadline day. You know, it's like in other windows, maybe you're expecting a kind of aging striker who's not wanted kind of player. So to get someone of his potential, decent age as well, and I think good potential, and I think he's a good fit. I think he can play in the Premier League. I think physically he's a good fit for us. And I think Frank will like him. I think, you know, I can see him playing a similar role to like what Wissa did. Like I can see him being very similar kind of profile to him.
Yeah. I think that, you know, he's definitely a hard worker, Kolo Muani. I think, you know, you go back to that World Cup, we were just speaking about it off air, like he played a bench role for France in that World Cup, but every time he came on, he provided a serious threat, didn't he, for France? Ended up missing a penalty in the final, but I think that you can see that the player clearly has bundles amount of quality, bundles amount of talent, and it's just about the right manager and the right system and the right fit to get it out of him, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think if he plays regularly, I think he'll be a threat. And I think, look, at Juve, he started off quite well, then kind of fell away, and then had quite a good end to the season, had a pretty decent Club World Cup as well for them. So I think there's a reason they wanted him back. They tried to get him back, and I don't know why it didn't work out, but I think it was maybe more of a money thing, but they did try to re-sign him. So it shows that they were impressed with him when he was there. So for me, I think, yeah, I think, look, I got to commend the club. I think they've done well, considering if let's say there is something really bad going on with Solanke, they only would have found that out, it seems, over the last few days. So they've kind of been scrambling around.
So Spurs can get deals done quickly when we really want to.
Seems that way, and I think we've done really well. And I think this is a deal I don't think we can really complain about. I know, are there better players out there potentially? You know, could we have just slapped 100 million for Leao or something? I mean, he's not a striker, but could we, you know, will we better off rivaling Newcastle for Wissa? You know, do we go big and overpay for someone like a Strand Larsen? Or is it worth just doing a loan deal for someone like Muani and not panicking at this point, and kind of it's like a low risk deal? I think that's kind of the way to go, rather than panicking, overpaying for a player like a Larsen or something.
Yeah, look, and if he smashes it out, I have no doubt in my mind Spurs will go and sign him next summer. I really think that will be the case. So, and you got to remember as well, as much as his career hasn't progressed as much as he would have liked, he's still a fully fledged and still gets called up every international break to the France national team.
9 goals in 31 caps.
And that's no mean feat. I mean, he scored for France in the last international break. You know, in that mad game, 5-4 against Spain. He scored in that game. He came on later in the game and got the 4th goal for France. So he's still getting called up for the majority of the French national team squad. So that shows you where they kind of think of his talents.
Yeah, the only thing, 100%. And look, I think he's a good player. I think he's good. If you look at his on FB ref and stuff, in terms of just like minutes he's played and the goals and assists he's get, it's quite good. Like, I think in the last, since he started playing for like Nantes, I think back in 2021 or whatever, he's had 130 90 minutes, or equivalent of 139 minutes and 80 goal contributions. So he gets goal contributions regularly when he's getting minutes on the pitch. I think the problem is he hasn't been. He had that season at PSG. He only played 10 games, and that's really, you know. And even in that season, he had 490 minutes and 3 goal contributions. So
why hasn't he been getting the minutes?
Yeah, I don't know.
There must be a reason behind it. You know what I mean?
think Enrique maybe values a bit more technical ability. Muani's very physical. He relies on his physical attributes a lot. I think technically he's not the strongest potentially, but I don't think Frank will mind that too much. I think when I look at Wissa, I don't think technically he's the strongest, but he makes it work. He gets the best out of him, and that's what we're going to have to do with Muani. But when you look at the front three with what they have now, PSG. Kavisha, Dembele, Barcola or Doué, all extremely like elite technicians, all of them, like at the top of the top when it comes to technical ability, right? Muani's not on that level. He's not quite there, but he's still good enough, obviously, to be getting called up for France and stuff. He's not like he's horrible. He's just not PSG level. So that's why I think he's not being picked. Because I look at his stats, in his first season, 14 90 minutes, 11 goal contributions. His second season, where he barely played, 4 90 minutes, 3 goal contributions. So when he plays, he does well. He's just not fancied. He doesn't like him, Enrique. He thinks he's not good enough, and that's fair enough. Just getting goal contributions, again, necessarily doesn't make you good enough for PSG. But I think he's a good player. And I think, especially on a loan deal, makes a lot of sense for us.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. And when you're looking at Spurs' options now, because I agree with you what you're saying about Dom Solanke, I don't think we go in for a striker if they don't fear that Solanke's not going to be out for a sustained amount of time. The rumours are up to like 2 to 3 months, which is crazy.
Which is weird, because Ali Gold and Tom Allnut today said he's not expected to be out for a long time. But
yeah, you don't sign a striker if that's the case.
the thing.
Like that's in my opinion, and especially for Spurs.
The only thing I'm thinking is, unless they're not quite sure yet, and they don't want to run the risk, they sign a player like Muani who can do both. So like if Solanke is actually out for the next 2-3 months, if he does need surgery, then you got Muani there. If he doesn't, he can also fill in on the wing.
Is there much evidence of Muani being a good winger, though? Because I don't ever remember seeing him on the wing.
He's played there a few times, but yeah, I don't know how good he is there.
His only predominantly, like literally 80% of his career, maybe even more, has been at striker.
Yeah, his numbers on the wing are not terrible, but they're not great either.
But like, what years in his career was those wing appearances? Because for PSG, he mainly played up front. For Juventus, he mainly played up front.
Yeah, played one game on the
So
right
who are
wing.
these games for at wing? Like, when did he play on the wing? It was mainly for Nantes, probably.
Few for Nantes, few for PSG. Yeah, not many.
So, it is few and far between the evidence that we've got on the wing.
Yeah, he's predominantly a striker.
Yeah.
But I think he's also a player who could fill in on the wing. So I think that's what I'm saying. It makes sense that, like, we get a player like him in, depending on Solanke, because from the updates we're hearing on Solanke, I don't know if we're going to go through it.
I may as well just read you the updates now, because I've just got 2 completely conflicting updates. One from Tom Allnut, and he says that Solanke had an injection in his ankle to settle it down and will be assessed over the international break, but the 27-year-old is not expected to be out for a lengthy period. However, Jake Sanders from The Sun, obviously a less reliable source, says that Solanke's injury is worse than first feared, and Spurs striker facing a considerable spell on the sidelines and could be forced to undergo surgery on the problem.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel probably that they are going to assess it over the international break, and maybe they predict it could be a long one.
So what it sounds like to me is they fear it could be a long one, but because there's swelling there, he said it had an injection to settle it down. Yeah. So what it tells me is there's swelling there. They're not quite sure the extent of it. There's a fear that it could be a long term, but they still don't know. And so it tells me like they've basically Muani's a bit of insurance here. Either because if he doesn't play, if he is out for a while, you've got a striker. If he is only out for a couple of weeks, then you've got Muani who can kind of cover all bases anyway. And we were looking for a winger, and maybe he could kind of fill in there. We know Richarlison can fill in on the left a bit if we need, and he can play up front. So I think Muani is just the makes a lot of sense if with the current Solanke situation. I think that you got to make the best of what you in the situation, and I think getting someone like Muani who's versatile but predominantly a striker covers all your bases really, rather than getting a Lookman who we know is predominantly a left winger. So it doesn't really help you if Solanke is out for a while.
Let's get both, man. Let's get both. But our good friend Poseidon actually sent me a text, and he said Dom's injury is worse than first feared. Stem cell injection, hoping to calm it down and avoid surgery, will be monitored over the international break. Best case scenario is 1 to 2 weeks after the international break.
Yeah.
And the worst case scenario is up to 3 months.
That's what I'm saying. They're not sure.
Yeah.
So let's hope it's the former, not the latter. But they kind of you got to cover yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And that's doing the right thing. They are doing the right thing. But in terms of when you're looking at the outlook of the squad with our number 9s, does he come in as our best striker in the team, or I think he might come in as the most talented striker, but is he gonna be our number 1 striker?
I think obviously Rishi has the shirt at the moment. I know he didn't play great against Bournemouth. I think, but when I think about Muani, I think Rishi is better at some aspects. Like I think he's probably a better finisher, Rishi.
He's also got better of he's got more of the physical aspect to his game as well.
I think with his back to goal, he's probably a bit better than Muani. Muani's I think probably better running in behind. I also think he's better at holding off players when he's running at them and running from goal. I feel like Rishi isn't as good at holding off players as Muani. I think Muani's also probably better when he's got the ball at his feet at making opportunities for himself and creating different things, and also potentially just creating opportunities for teammates. I think Muani might be better. He's probably better all round forward. But I think when it comes to like being in the box, getting headers on goal, finishing things, and also back to goal kind of play, I think Rishi's probably better at that. So I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. But I think like
probably a better finisher.
Who?
Muani.
I think Rishi's a better finisher.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Rishi's a better finisher than Muani. But look,
I hope not.
Huh?
I hope not.
I think Rishi's a good finisher.
He is a good finisher at times, but I mean, how many times have we sat here being like, Rishi needs about 5 or 6 chances to score because he's so frustrating in front of goal sometimes?
Yeah, it can be. I think he's a good finisher in general. But look, is he our most talented? I think he's probably got a. It's a difficult one to say.
I think he will be our most talented number 9. And if Thomas Frank can get him playing to his best and get him back to his best, he will be our number 1 striker.
Yeah, I think maybe most talented is probably the right word. But I think maybe if we're playing against lower blocks, I think Rishi might be the better fit. But I think maybe... Funnily enough, I know Rishi did really well against City games, but I think in those kind of games where there's a lot of space, I think you would love a striker like Muani in those games.
Yeah, and I think like to have him and Xavi Simons linking up together with him threading the balls in behind, I think they could strike up a really good relationship and partnership on the pitch.
Yeah, I think so too. And I just think we've done very well to get him in at such short notice, considering the potential issues we're going to have with Solanke. I don't think we could have asked for anyone better. And when you look at, we'll see if we get any business done now between now and the end of the season window, which is in 5.5 hours' time. But how do we assess now our business if this is our last signing?
Yeah, I mean, I still want more. I still think we're short at centre back, and I still think we're, a bit of a lack of quality at left wing, in my opinion. So I'd like to see 1 or 2 more in before the end of the window. However, you're looking at the quality that we've brought in. And I don't remember the last time we've brought this much amount of quality in. Kolo Muani, Xavi Simons, Mohamed Kudus, João Palhinha. I think they're 4 very good players. Very good players. And I'm happy with the calibre. I just hope there's more surprises for us left in this transfer window, because I'm happy. I'm okay with the business that we've done in. I want more.
Yeah, when it comes to the Champions League squad, it's asks a load of different questions now. When we're getting Muani, it sounds like other players are staying potentially as well. So it's going to be a bit of a mess when we're selecting that Champions League squad. But whatever, it's fine.
It's a big decision actually if the Champions League squad needs to be named before they know about Solanke.
Yeah, I don't know when it needs to be named. I'm assuming after the international break, but maybe it might be during. I don't know.
It's got to be. I mean, after the international break, Champions League is like a week later. So I don't know. I don't know how close to that is. I thought it was going to be like around now, the Champions League squad.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, they usually. I'm just taking off on my memory from Football Manager. They usually do it the day after the deadline, isn't it? So it could be. It could be now. Miguel Delaney says Tottenham is still discussing an option to buy for Muani. So maybe that can still be included.
So UEFA says domestic transfer windows involving clubs in the Champions League phase vary by nation. However, all clubs have to register their Champions League squad on Tuesday, the 2nd of September.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight Tuesday. That's tonight.
Yeah, tonight.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah. So look, that is a situation. I think it's a signing that we should be getting behind. I think he'll be exciting. Just adds to the calibre.
5 million loan fee.
5 million, yeah.
That's pretty decent. 5 million euros.
Yeah, so who did we have on loan last year?
We paid 10 million.
Crazy. And I think he's a better player than Matisse Tell. So I think, I think it's a good signing. adds to the quality in the number 9 position that we desperately need. I think we need more on the left wing at centre back. We'll have to wait and see what happens from that aspect. But Kolo Muani is a Spurs player, unless he fails that medical, obviously. But it looks like he will be a Spurs player, and obviously we'll bring you the announcement a bit later and everything like that.
But when you look at the overall business in the forward line, we've added Kudus, Simons,
And Muani.
to that forward line.
Yeah.
Obviously, Antel on a permanent.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, that's pretty, like, compared to what we had last season. Big upgrades.
Last season we had Son.
Yeah, Son was, aging. But anyway, like...
He's still got our most goal contributions.
Yeah, look, this isn't a conversation about Son. It's about how much we've improved the options in the forward line. But then again, we had Maddison and Decky, which at the moment we don't have. This time we have Simons. But once Decky... I feel like once Decky comes back, hopefully in December, all of a sudden, you look at our attacking options, they are very good.
I think they're okay. I wouldn't say that it's worlds apart to what we had last season. I think
it is.
I think the left wing is looking weak, in my opinion. I think the right wing with Kudus, I'm happy with that. Javi Simons in the 10, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with Kolo Muani, but he wouldn't have been probably a first choice when we went into the window. I don't think it's dramatically increased from last season. I think it's maybe a slight
Last
improvement.
season we had Brennan on the right?
Yeah.
We had Odebear and Son on the left. And Odebear was injured most of the year.
Well, just say Son on the left, yeah.
Son on the left. You had obviously Decky and Maddison in the middle with Solanke and Richarlison up front.
Yeah.
And how's that? And how have we not massively improved on that?
You look at the goal contributions. Just look at that alone. With everything that we've been saying about Son, Decky, and Maddison, 67 goal contributions they got between them. Where are they going to come from still? Kudus, he hasn't been. Look, I think that he can bring the goal contributions and assists and stuff. We haven't seen him getting goal scoring positions as of yet. But look, it's only been 3 games, so I don't want to harshly judge him too much. But I think Kudus is going to bring maybe a different aspect of the game. I am slightly worried about where these goal contributions are going to come from.
Well, you've got Simons who gets goal contributions. Muani does as well. You've that regard, he does what he. I mean, you just look at the stats. He does get goal contributions when he does play. Hopefully, Richarlison will get a lot more than last season if he can stay fit. Hopefully, Decky's back in December time, and hopefully he can contribute. Brennan still gets goal contributions. We know that, and then we just got to hope. What's it called? Maybe Telkin or Odebear, one of them can come good this season. Hopefully Solanke's not too bad. I think we do have goals. I think we've got goals in our team.
I think to make it a really good window for me to say that we've taken up our. I like the quality that we brought in. Don't get me wrong. I think Son leaving is still leaving a massive hole on that left wing for me. A massive hole. Like, he's been so good. Oh, look, we know how good Son's been for us, and it's hard to replace that quality in the team. And look, we haven't done it. We're going into the left wing with Brennan Johnson, Odebear, and Tell on the left wing. So I really hope that we can sign someone on the left wing. Like, if we can get an Ademola Lookman, then I start to look at that and being like, that front line is regenerated.
Yeah, I think we've got to get used to the fact this is our window, in my opinion. I don't think we're getting another one.
Yeah, regardless, you still have to comment of, that would take us onto a next level.
Yeah, it'll be good. It would be good if we got another one. I just don't think we will, because I think there's a reason we got someone like Muani. You can kind of fill it in both, because we want both covered, and that's why I think Tottenham envisage him covering both positions. So I think that's going to be our window. Look, and I think we have improved our forward options from last season. Obviously the regrettable thing is at the moment that Decky and Maddison do have long-term injuries, but hopefully Decky won't be, hopefully second half of the season we'll have him. Obviously Maddison's a bit of a write-off. But I think we have good options here. I do think we've got three good strikers. You've got Kudus there. You've added Simons as well, who's, I think, is such an exciting talent. And look, I know Tell and Odebear right now aren't cutting it, but let's give them an opportunity. I really believe those two are good players. I think they're going to come good. I really believe that. Obviously not Son level right now, but I think once they start playing more regularly and they start showing what they're capable of, they're still so early in their careers. People forget it. So early in their careers and their Tottenham careers when it comes to how much they've actually played. So I just think, give an opportunity, let Frank, work his magic with them. I think we'll be okay. I really think we're going to be okay in the forward line.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, look, we're going to need to see dramatic improvements from Tell and Odebear. And look, I get it. They're very young players. They've got massive potential, big ceilings in the future they could potentially have. But we need them now. We're going into the Champions League. We need big performances, and we need them to start delivering now. We can't wait a year for them to develop. We need them now.
I'm saying this season.
Yeah.
I think I can start. Look, I'm not expecting Son level of contribution from both of them, but I'm saying they're going to start coming good. I'm really confident of that.
But all in all, I'm happy. I'm happy with the caliber of player that we brought in, and all I'm saying is that I just think we are in desperate need of one more, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. There's still a good few hours to go. Not holding my breath, but you never know. You never know. Spurs could surprise us. We never thought we were getting Kolo Muani this morning.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
who knows what
yesterday
can
there wasn't
happen.
any talk of Muani, was there?
Yeah.
In fact, yesterday on the weekend, Frank was asked if he wants another striker. He said no. He said that Solanke isn't too bad. He's going to be back after international break, and he doesn't want another striker. Yet here we are talking about Spurs about to confirm another striker. So
Exactly. And you know what else he said he didn't need? It was a centre-back. So probably a centre-back's going to come in from now to the end of the window.
he's been playing mind games with the media.
Yeah, exactly. So look, that's the situation on Kolo Muani. Let us know your comments in the comment section below. Do you think Kolo Muani is a good signing for Tottenham Hotspur? Just a couple of other bits and pieces to speak about before...
Inter have sent, just as the story you're about to talk about,
Go on, what's he said?
Inter have sent a loan proposal for Akanji.
Inter have sent a loan proposal to Akanji.
And Akanji has said yes to Inter.
Oh, here we go.
That's Romano.
I thought we were going to get Akanji because Ed Aaron said it's understood that Akanji's representatives are continuing to discuss a potential move away from Man City before today's deadline. However, it's looking increasingly likely that he could stay.
Well, Romano is now saying he's potentially off to Inter.
We should do our best to get that done. We're talking about 15 million euros to get it done.
Well, it's looking like a loan deal. Loan deal.
Surely, if they're willing to let him go out on loan, like their priority would be to sell him.
You'd think so, but seems as though Inter. I don't know why has it gone so quiet with us? What's the sticking point? We haven't really heard.
Yeah, I don't know.
15 million seems as though it's definitely in our remit. Apparently, he wanted to come to a club that's going to play Champions League football. He doesn't have to leave England. So I don't know. I don't know why that deal wouldn't go through if that's what they were talking about. But it seems as though that's stalled for some reason, and Inter are going to swoop it on loan.
Another story regarding Manor Solomon, as Manor Solomon from Alistair Gold says that is understood to want to remain at Tottenham beyond this window. The club are still willing to listen to offers for the player before all parties make their final decision. And Kat Lucas from the iPaper says Manor Solomon is now set to stay at Tottenham Hotspur. Leeds had considered a renewed move, but after Buonanotte deal collapsed, but Thomas Frank has seen enough to give the winger another opportunity unless something changes late in the day. I do suspect someone's going to come in with a late loan move for Manor Solomon.
Yeah,
However,
I think who was it? Gary Jacob, I think, said Palace have come in for him. Yeah, Palace have registered an interest in Manor Solomon.
So I do suspect a late loan move will happen for Manor Solomon. However, if it's true that Thomas Frank has been impressed with what he's seen behind the scenes, then I'd be willing to give him a go. I think if he is to stay, though, I think probably one out of Manor, Odebear and Tell would have to be left out the Champions League squad, as we would have too many players.
Yeah, and it's most likely to be Manor, I would say. But I think he's got to probably be okay with that if he's staying. I do suspect he'll probably get a last minute loan. I am surprised that no one's come in for him. I thought he would have been. There would be a few clubs interested because he had such a great loan spell at Leeds, and it's a shame for him because he, as I say, it's in the last 2 years, through no fault of his own, things have gone a bit wrong. Obviously, he had the injury that ruled him out for almost a year, but he came back flying and did really well at Leeds. So, and this summer, obviously, he did pick up another injury, but I would have thought someone was willing to take a risk on him. So I understand that Spurs. I can understand if Frank wants to, if there's no one going for him, it might be worth a risk trying to see if we can do anything for us. Because as you say, we kind of need a left winger, and maybe it's worth seeing if he can do a job. But we've got a lot of players, and if someone's willing to take him off our hands, that's probably the best course of action. But I'd be willing to see what he can do if given the opportunity.
Yeah, I would as well, to be honest. Another one is Brian Hill, a Spanish journalist called Neil Sola, saying Girona's plans to sign Brian Hill after the player is going to terminate his contract with Tottenham.
Oh yeah, mate. I mean, just that needs to happen a while ago, didn't it? So Brian Hill needed to leave a while ago. So if he terminates it, I think that's again best for everyone.
Yeah, and also Tom Walnut saying that Tottenham have agreed a deal with Girona to sell Brian Hill for 10 million euros.
Oh.
This time a permanent transfer.
Well, that's not a termination, is it?
Yeah, Hill also had an offer from Elche, but will return to Girona, where he spent last season on loan. Wow, 10 million for Brian Hill in his last year of his contract. That's a great deal.
That is great business. Great business. I'm surprised they've agreed to spend that.
And that pretty much pays for the for
Muani.
double the Muani loan fee.
Fantastic. All right. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
That's good stuff. Happy days.
Good deal for Tottenham Hotspur.
There was another report. I don't know if you had it. Apparently, Basuma is set to stay.
Yeah, I've got this. I was going to talk about that next, so we may as well get on to Basuma. As Rahman Osman says that Basuma is likely to remain at Tottenham beyond this evening's transfer deadline, despite strong reports linking him to a move to Galatasaray. However, I did say this a couple of days. I wouldn't be surprised if this deal rumbles on past the deadline, because we know the Turkish and Saudi transfer deadline do run past tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if Basuma's still here tomorrow, but still ends up in Turkey.
Yeah, that's fair. And he knows he's not going to be included in the squad for the Champions League. There's not really a space for him at the moment. He's been he's had disciplinary action taken against him. He's not currently playing at all. So I think he's got to leave. It's best for everyone if he leaves. I thought there might be a few clubs interested in him. It seems as though no one wants to touch him, which is, a shame for him. But at the end of the day, especially how, another disciplinary thing going against him, that's going to be seen by a lot of clubs, and that's going to put a lot of people off. That's a shame for him.
Someone in the comments says it was off because he was late to his medical.
Brilliant.
But look, that's the situation of where we stand at 1:45 p.m. on the transfer deadline day. Obviously, we've got just over 5 hours to go till the window slams shut. And let's just hope and pray that we can get some more in, because we need some more action, man.
We're getting news all the time. According to Matt Barlow of Daily Mail, Crystal Palace had an offer for Solomon rejected over the weekend.
Rejected? Wow.
That's what.
Why we reject a deal for Solomon if we're so desperate for him to go?
Don't know. Maybe
Frank does really like him.
Maybe it was a low permanent offer. Maybe we want to loan him out.
Because it was such a surprise to see him on the bench on the weekend, wasn't it?
It was.
He didn't get a go. He didn't bring him on, even though we were desperate for a goal. But it was a very big surprise to see him on the bench.
Yeah, I thought we wouldn't see him again. So maybe there's a chance he gets reintegrated. And to be fair, like from Tottenham's point of view, forgetting his injury stuff, all that's happened is he's come in, got injured after 5 games, went on loan and smashed it. And then he's come back to Tottenham. So, in other circumstances, you would reintegrate that kind of player.
Yeah.
After, he couldn't have done more on loan, could he, when he was at Leeds to impress?
No, exactly. And he stayed pretty much injury-free throughout the whole season. But it's just sod's law that he comes back and gets injured straight away.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate for him. I'd love nothing more than to see Solomon smash it at Tottenham Hotspur, or anyone smash it at Tottenham Hotspur. But let's see what happens. We got a couple of super chats to go through. The Jorical, big up to Jory, says, whatever you think of the handling, this is the first window that we've only bought quality. Not top quality, but the still quality ready for now. #progress, #Levy out.
Yeah, and all our signings have been, obviously Simons has been younger, 22, but all the other signings have been kind of near peak age, haven't they? And
I think it's a shift from what we've seen, bringing just teenagers that you're hoping to progress into good players. Now we're bringing in players which have experience. And yeah, Simons is a young player, but he's got experience. All the players that we're bringing in are experienced players. And that's what we've needed.
Yeah, and I think that was the remit going into this summer, clearly.
Yeah.
I think we obviously went too far the other way last summer, bringing Odebear, bringing in Bergval, bringing in Gray, who were all like talented players, but it was just way too much inexperience, and we needed to correct that. And I think look, we've done a decent job doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's all that really is at this moment in time for international break. So I guess we'll be popping in and out of the lives all day as and when news breaks and progresses. But I guess as of now, that's it from us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you hopefully very, very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.